It's Adam here. It's Primordial Radio. And for the month of August, I've got a fantastic guest on the radio residency. It is Matt from Dinosaur Pile-Up. Matt, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. It's been a crazy few years. I'm really looking forward to diving into it with you, talking about everything that's gone on. Mm-hmm. But look, let's get started because you've got a new album coming out, which is absolutely sublime. I've been lucky enough to listen to it. It's out on Mascot Records and it's coming out on the 22nd of August. How excited are you for the world to hear this album?
Hell yeah, I'm really excited. It feels good to be putting new stuff out into the world. Obviously it's been a minute. It's been a tough couple of years and kind of a quiet couple of years for Dinosaur. So it feels great to just be putting music out again, and music that I'm and we're really proud of. I love the record that we made, kind of with everything going on, which was obviously very, very tough. The silver lining, I guess, meant that we had a lot of time. So even though my writing was kind of like slowed down due to everything going on, and recording sessions were kind of like slowed down as well. So everything sort of took a long time, but it also meant I had a lot of time to like constantly be looking back at what we were doing and at the writing and stuff and being like, oh, this could be better. And I think it's resulted in a really killer record that I love to bits. So yeah, super excited about people just hearing it, you know?
It is a really great record. I've been a big fan of Dinosaur Pile-Up actually for quite a few years now. And it's odd because personally, I'm not massive into a lot of pop punky stuff. Something about your music, which, you know, it has that vibe to it, but it's also really quite heavy in places as well. I love the vocals. I love the guitar playing. I love the drums. I love the production on it. I know that everyone's going to love it. It's Dinosaur Pile-Up through and through. And there are some, you know, we're going to talk about what's been going on the last few years for all those who aren't aware. But before that, I wanted just to actually touch on the artwork of the album. It's really interesting artwork. I really love it. Can you tell me about it and who's behind that?
Yeah, man, the artwork it's just a mind blower for me. So the artwork of the front cover is by an artist called Fred Stonehouse, who I'm a huge, huge fan of. And he's from out in Wisconsin. And he's just an incredible artist. And I was really struggling to find the right artwork for the album. And obviously it's a significant album for me with everything that went before it and the whole journey that led up to it. It is a very significant record for me. So I didn't want it to be kind of like, I don't know, just something we'd sort of thrown together or didn't think too much about. It felt like it needed to be significant. And I was really, really struggling to find the right image. And I found various things and you know, I was taking inspiration from some of my favorite covers like Smashing Pumpkins, Melancholy and Infinite Sadness, which is one of my all-time favorite records, but also all-time favorite covers and artwork for a record. And it just feels so like magical and sentimental. There's something about the artwork that's just so special. And I was also like feeling like Green Day Insomniac, like that. I don't know if you remember that collage. The artwork for that cover is this bizarre collage, which I love. And it was an amalgamation, like particularly the Green Day thing, even the Smashing Pumpkins thing. It sort of has loads of elements that are really interesting. And I related to that with this record because there was so many different parts to the writing of this record and like so many different impetus and influences, so much in it. There was like so collage art I was like really interested in because I wanted to like throw loads of things together. Anyway, long story short, I went through loads of different routes of where I wanted the art to go, and everyone hit a dead end. Like the artist couldn't do it, or like we found this image and it was perfect, but we couldn't get the rights to it, and blah blah blah. And literally we had like a week or 2 weeks or something before we actually started to have to like upload artwork and have it. And I was freaking out because I didn't want to just use something that didn't have the weight behind it. And anyway, then I remembered I previously messaged Fred like a year before and he hadn't got back to me. Thus, I thought that was a dead end. And because I was such a fan of this, I mean, I'm a fan of literally everything he does, but this painting, which is called The Dreams Where I Die, I was just blown away by, and it really felt like the right image, and it had various different elements in the image. And I was like all of this is so perfect for this record. And bizarrely, it feels perfect for Dinosaur. Like, I don't know, when Dinosaur started, we used the lightning bolt as a sort of image, and weirdly this painting had lightning bolts in it. So I was like, wow, it somehow is like connected to us, but it has all these different elements that feel so real and relevant to me. So anyway, we like Hail Mary 2 weeks to go, or like a week to go or something, we hit Fred up again, and bizarrely he just got back, and we were like, dude, this painting's perfect, we have a new record, and he was so game and sort of just immediately agreed and stuff. So thank whatever, you know, to that sort of came together. And it's so cool for me as well. Like, I really nerd out on it. For me, it's kind of like I'm sort of like, I'm a really big fan of Fred, so I'm sort of starstruck, like getting to email him about the artwork and stuff, and I was like, holy shit, like this is wild for me. Like, I was absolutely blown away. So yeah, I'm so stoked on the imagery, and very happy that came together. But yeah, Fred Stonehouse is the creator of that masterpiece.
There's lots of different elements in it. You kind of see, as you say, like there's the lightning bolts coming down from the... It's quite vintage looking, isn't it? It's something that you'd imagine maybe, you know, biblical sort of times.
Yeah.
There's a little devil there. There's sort of, well, there's a skull, which I imagine sort of feels a lot like death. And then there's this sort of angel figure. Is it an angel, would you say? Or
I don't know.
It's got wings.
Yeah, but I love the fact, like, you're right on the money, by the way, all these, how you're articulating that. Like, the central piece, I guess you could call an angel, because he has wings, but he's also like grotesquely ugly, and his wings are bat wings, and so everything's sort of like juxtaposed, and there's death in the photo smoking a cigarette, and then there's the devil, and like, I don't know, he's standing on atop a mountain, which I sort of related to, like, you know, a challenge. All these things sort of like tied into it, and weirdly, sort of references from even song lyrics and stuff, like, seem to sort of pair to the images really well. So yeah, and then there's something like really ugly about it, but in a really kind of sort of amazing way that sort of, I don't know, I sort of like love the ugliness of it. So yeah, I love it.
I think
so much.
it's also, you know, everyone should go and check it out. So the album is called, if you want to check out the artwork, it's called I've Felt Better, which is a significant title. So to all those who aren't aware, you underwent a diagnosis of ulcerative colitis.
I did.
Back in 2021. So I imagine this is after, you know, that COVID has started. You lost quite a significant amount of touring dates, didn't you, because of COVID?
Yeah.
A big tour in the US, which is devastating enough. And then your health was really badly hit.
Yeah.
Do you want to... Actually, I think the first question I want to ask about that was, was music important to your recovery? Because obviously you can tell us a little bit about the condition and what happened during, but I always want to know, like, at the time, did you care? Were you just focused on getting better? Or did music help you? Or was there other things that was sort of, you know, driving you on?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's strange because, like, I don't have to draw on music to sort of like find inspiration or power or anything like that. Music it sounds cliche, but like, music is permanently like in my brain and like coming out of me. Like I don't actually listen to a lot of music. I just permanently put out music. So it's not that music wasn't important, but like, no, I didn't, like, you know, I didn't find strength in music through that period of time. If I'm honest with you, sort of being in a band and music in general was sort of the furthest thing from my mind. You know, and maybe we'll talk about this, maybe we won't, but like, it was so sort of traumatic that I went through things that, I can only describe as sort of things like ego death and stuff like that, where I just completely disconnected with like who I was, my identity, therefore what I did and what I like care about in terms of like my job or stuff like that. The only things that like remained extremely important. The list was very short. It was really just like time with the people I loved and stuff like that. So like being in a band, being the front dude of a band, just suddenly just like did not matter at all, which was quite a strange transition. I mean, I don't know. I just never expected any of that was going to happen anyway. So it was quite weird. Very weird, actually. So like, I don't know. But it's not like I lost music fully. Like I was in hospital and I wrote several songs in hospital, like in the hospital bed, and just voice memoed. I always voice memo ideas pretty regularly. And I still wrote a bunch of music just lying there. So that's what I mean. It's like I didn't lose music, but I wasn't like drawing on it for strength. I was actually drawing on things like seeing my wife now. She wasn't my wife at the time, but like they were the things that I was drawing on for strength. Like I've got to go through this to see them again and stuff like that. It wasn't like I'm going to listen to Rage Against the Machine to give me a pump up,
Yeah.
But I still was, I'll always be connected to music.
I think it's interesting, like people who listen to this show, people who listen to Dinosaur Pile-Up, they're music fans, and music, I think, plays a very different role. I mean, I'm not inside the music industry at all, but I have worked in it in the past. And once you're working in it, it becomes a lot like another job, doesn't it? You have to do things for work. And I think when you are ill, that's the last thing you probably, it doesn't matter, does it? How difficult was it to recover, to be able to get back on stage? Because I don't know a lot about ulcerative colitis, but it's debilitating, isn't it? It's very debilitating and hugely painful.
Yeah. It can be very, very intense. Like obviously there's varying degrees of, I guess, of how someone is suffering from that. And obviously that can also change through your journey of recovery or, at least being in it. That all started to kick off actually in 2018 whilst I was making the previous album, Celebrity Mansions. But it was only, like you said, in the pandemic, 2020, 2021, 2022, where I was, like in an extremely bad place and in hospital a lot and stuff. So, I mean, getting back on stage was difficult, really, really difficult, and really weird as well. I mean, actually, the first time I think I got back on stage was something like 2022 or something like that. We played as I remember it, Camp Sabat's pulled out of Leeds and Reading headlining the Pit. Yeah. And we filled in for them. And I think that was our first show back. And in hindsight, that show and the following couple of shows, like we literally only played a handful of shows in about 4 years. In hindsight, it was way too early for me to be doing that physically. And looking back, it was kind of shocking looking back at the photographs from that Pit show, because I was still on like insane amounts of steroids, and you're medicated. There's very few treatments sort of available for autoimmune diseases, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, rheumatoid arthritis. Like there's a lot of autoimmune diseases, but we know very little about them, which is crazy. And like there's literally no cure for all autoimmune diseases, I believe. So there's not many options. So one of the options is steroids, they're a really, really powerful medication, but I sort of liken it to sort of carpet bombing your body. Like imagine if your body is a forest and there's one rotten tree in the middle of it, and that's the sort of issue. Steroids will just carpet bomb the entire thing, and it'll destroy that. It'll temporarily destroy that bad thing, but it'll also destroy pretty much everything else. And it all grows back anyway, just very slowly, even the bad thing.
Yeah.
And often the bad thing grows back worse. So it's quite steroids are like a pretty gnarly answer to the conditions, and weirdly that's one of the only treatments we've got. So anyway, long story short, when I did that pit show, that Lee's and Reading show, in hindsight, looking back at the photos, I was like, oh my God, I was just so clearly, visibly not ready to be there, like hugely, you retain a lot of water when you're on steroids, especially high dose steroids, which I was on. So my body was literally like twice the size.
Swollen.
My face is swollen. Like my face was literally like round and massive. I just didn't even look like me. So it was pretty weird. And that was a tough journey. And speaking of things like ego death, and in many ways I sort of like disassociated with myself. So I didn't feel like myself. I didn't look like myself. I'd been on this insane journey, this insane experience of like pretty torturous stuff. Like it was very traumatic. So suddenly being like, oh, I'm that dude on stage again. It was like, what? It was very hard to sort of like come around to that. And in many ways, I'm still coming around to that, We just recently played our first show back, which we didn't expect. I thought the first show would be in September for the headline tour, but we got offered to close out the Lead Mill shutting in Sheffield.
Oh, such a shame. Such a great venue.
Such a shame. Like an amazing venue. I mean, yeah, very, very sad. But we were the second to last show there. That was a very late, like, hey, do you want to do this? Like, oh, shit. Yeah, okay. But even playing that show, it's like, wow, I don't feel like the same dude. Like I am obviously the same guy, but I've been through something really, really significant since now and then. So yeah, getting back on stage for those few shows was very tough, but getting back on stage even now is like, it's tough. I'm working through it.
Obviously there's been positives in the last few years, the new album being one, and you mentioned your at the time girlfriend, who is now your wife.
Yes.
You picked some artists and some tracks to play, and you picked one of hers. Now, I listened to it, I didn't know that you were together. I didn't know you were married. You picked so she's called Karen Diō. Is it Diō, or what's the? Because she's Brazilian, isn't she?
Yeah, it's actually Dior, like because of the accent on the O. A lot of people say Diō, which is but technically the pronunciation is Dior.
I think, you say Diō, it probably brings some other connotations and, questions of lineage, especially in the rock world.
Yeah, which is funny. When I first sort of like got to know Kay, I also was like, are you related to Diō? But obviously she's not. But that was the first thing that came to my mind too.
But you picked a track called Sick Ride, sorry. I love it. I think it's fantastic. Firstly, there's the yeahs in it, like you get in Thrash Metal Cassette, which also draws back to Queens of the Stone Age. They had that in some of their songs in Rated R. They're one of my favourite bands.
Yeah.
This track sounds as if Dinosaur Pile-Up, merged with the Distillers or something. Yeah. But tell me a little bit more about her career and about about her music in general.
Well, Kay's been making music for a long time, probably as long as I have. But obviously out in Brazil, which is a music scene, is slightly, much less visible than, for instance, the scene in England or the US or even Europe. But she's been making great punk rock music out in Brazil for a long time. We sort of met when she was still in her previous band, Violet Soda. And anyway, we sort of met and very, very quickly, fell in love, and it was wild, and got married, and we live together here in Hastings now, and a complete life changer for both of us, really. But when she came over to the UK, her previous band had sort of disbanded, and she's just an incredible performer. Like she has an energy that is just wild. And I think it's amazing. And we just started sort of cooking stuff together and writing songs and stuff. And for a minute, she was definitely considering just kind of calling it and not making music. But it was almost like the universe sort of forced her hand or something. Like these songs started to just kind of come out of nowhere, and we were like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And very quickly, like stuff just opened for Kay. Like doors have just opened, and we were literally talking about this the other day. She's been playing shows in the UK, like as Karen Diō, for a year. Just about to be a year, and in that time she's like toured with Limp Bizkit, played with Sum 41, played Download, played all these wild European festivals, Rock for People and Yarrow on Air and stuff, and just had this crazy like journey. And you know, I love the music she makes. I love the energy she has. I think it's really, really kick ass. And yeah, she's just, I mean, obviously I'm her biggest fan, but she's awesome. So I'm stoked that everything is kicking off for her, and I'm stoked that I get to write with her, because the thing I probably love most about music and being in this thing is writing the songs, is the creation of killer songs. So for me, it's a trip because I get to write these awesome songs with my wife. Like it's amazing. So it's quite a cool thing.
Sick Ride is a killer song. I absolutely love it. And one thing I love about, you know, it's very difficult nowadays, especially with this sort of music where there's a lot of energy. It sometimes it can succumb to kind of overproduction, and it can sound, you know, the energy kind of gets sapped out by the search of perfection or whatever. But there's so much energy in this song. It really, you know, it really reminds me of, it's a modern track. It sounds modern, but there's kind of that raw aggression that you would have got in sort of the 90s, early 90s sort of grunge and punk back then. Does it help being in a relationship where you kind of both get what each other are doing, and, you know, you understand that you're going to be away quite a lot and doing things quite a lot? You know, there's no jealousy or, you know, conflict from that, I guess.
No. I mean, I don't know. I guess in some scenarios there might be. I'm not sure, but with me and Kay, I just like, we both want each other to win, and we know how much we both put into this. And like, she's a huge dinosaur fan. That's how we actually met. She's a huge dinosaur fan. I became a huge fan of what she was doing, and obviously I'm a massive fan of what she's doing now. Yeah. And it's rad. Like, I don't know. We just want each other to win, and it's cool because meeting Kay has sort of given me a different perspective on everything. Perhaps before I met Kay, and music was my absolute priority. The band was my absolute priority, which I sometimes think isn't the healthiest relationship with what you do. I don't want to call it my job, because that feels weird. But you know, with what you spend all your time on. Yeah. But I think meeting Kay and like suddenly actually having something that you prioritize and value higher, so much higher than what you do, gives you a different perspective on what you do. So I don't know, in a way the sort of pressure is off, and it's definitely a healthier life balance, because it's like, well, we're just doing this because we want it to be great, and we want to have fun. And we want to do this killer thing, but like at the end of the day, we have each other. That's our priority. So I don't know. So I'm not sure if I'm explaining that.
No. I completely it makes absolute total sense.
Yeah, it sort of like frees up. It's like fuck it, like let's just have fun with this and just do something great. Yeah, and sort of that's like, don't overthink it. Like, just do that and make it great. It's nice to just be able to see her doing it. Like, obviously I've played Download many times. Love playing Download, one of my favorite festivals. 2000 Trees, again, Leeds and Reading, all of these wicked things that I think as like in the UK, we sort of take for granted. Maybe even in America, people being able to come over here and get booked and stuff, take for granted. For someone like Kay out in Brazil, like playing Download is like a mind blower. Like, she's playing Download Festival, and sort of getting to watch her do that and experience that, and like go and do press at Download Festival, go and play the tent, and like everyone's there. Like, it's so cool seeing her do that and seeing it again through her eyes. It's like, wow, yeah, this is amazing. Not that I ever took it for granted at all, but it's
you get to relive that excitement in a, like an out of body experience kind of way, I guess.
Yeah, and that's so cool. And also I get like, I'm like watching my favorite person in the whole world do it. So it's like really, really cool. And like she's playing 2000 Trees next week, and I'll be playing with her. You know, that's one of my favorite festivals. I'm like, yeah, like you're gonna get to do that now. It's really cool.
I had a long sit down yesterday with James Scarlett, and for a festival, 2000 Trees festival special, and we were talking about future headliners, and you know, he was listing out bands that he'd love to see. Dinosaur Pile-Up was one of those. I think that would be fantastic. Yeah, I think that'd be a really great. It's such an interesting festival because obviously the lineup is so eclectic. Always tied back to, you know, I called it just guitar-based music, but, you know, it's a bit more alternative, isn't it?
Sure.
Always tied back to that, and it's a lovely atmosphere as well. What's been your best gig that you've ever done? What's your favourite festival? Where, if you could go back and do a gig again, where would it be?
Damn, that's a good question. I mean, obviously, there's a lot. 2000 Trees is up there. The most recent time we played it, I think, was 2020... I don't want to get this wrong. It was
2023. You were there at 2023, and you did Download again that year as well. So
yes,
good festival run.
Yeah, really, really good, and they were both amazing actually. But that last time we played Trees was so cool. We were like second from headliner or third from headliner or something, and the sun was like right at eye level. It was like coming down right at eye level, extremely hot. I mean, technically, the sun being right at eye level is a bit of a disaster because you literally can't see anything.
Yeah, quite painful as well, really.
Really painful. I think I gaffer taped sunglasses to my face because it was just so bright. Like we just taped them on. But it was amazing because like it was front to back filled, and you could see the heat rising off everybody, and you could see that the back everyone was bouncing out there too. It was just an amazing vibe, and like I do love that festival, so it felt great for that to be happening there. I don't know, I love festivals, particularly when it's sunny, but there's something about the energy at festivals that's just killer. And every time we roll up for Download or 2000 Trees or Leaves in Reading, like there's just a sort of just an energy in the air, and everyone's sort of like a bit freer, and everyone's stoked, and the sun's shining, and the dust on the ground is kind of covering everyone in dust. And I don't know, I love that.
But you're a great festival band because, and it's not in the same way, you know, that maybe a Limp Bizkit's a great festival band because everyone kind of knows and everyone can sing along. It's just the energy that you create and the style of music. It's beer drinking, hot weather music, really, isn't it? And to see you guys at festivals do that, it really fits your songs. Yeah.
And I guess like I wonder if, you know, I used to go to a lot of festivals when I was a kid. And I think I went to like the first festival I went to was 2000 Trees, not 2000 Trees, Tea in the Park. When I was like 15 or something like that. And it just like blew my mind. And I went the year after that, and then I started to go to all of the festivals. I think at that first one, I think the Foo Fighters were headlining, and they were still playing like a lot of Colour and the Shape, which was like so cool. Seeing Monkey Wrench live just like changed my life. And
that's one of your tracks from a biggest influence that you suggested. Was that from that then?
It is probably. Monkey Wrench really changed my thing. You know, it was the energy of that song. Hearing a kick drum being played that quick and that consistently, just blew my mind. Like, you know, I was very young, so that now, like, obviously some of the drummers out there now are just wildly talented and, you know, can do a lot more than that. But something about the energy and the crunchy, like the chugging guitars of that song in the verse, the melody, the kick drum going constantly, it just absolutely blew my mind. Obviously, I was playing a lot more drums back then, and I just became obsessed with that song and like obsessed with the delivery of it in terms of every instrument, but particularly the drums. So yeah, that's a hugely important track to me. Like that album particularly massively inspired my whole thing, and still does to this day. It's a masterpiece. But I remember Tea in the Park as well. I discovered Jimmy Eat World there, who I'm a huge fan of. They were touring on the album Clarity at the time, so they hadn't even released Bleed American or Salt, Sweat, Sugar. Was it renamed as Salt, Sweat, Sugar? I can't remember, but they hadn't even released that album yet.
Yeah.
And they became hugely significant to me as well. So I have really fond memories of going to festivals as a very young punk rocker. And I wonder if that energy that we put out on stage is, it was sort of instilled in me in those experiences. And I was like, I want to do that. Like, that's what I'm going to do. And we're still sort of curating that similar energy.
I like, to take it back to the new album, I can hear that sort of era of Foo Fighters in the track Sunflower. Sort of. Oh, yeah? I noted it down as like one by one album, sort of sound with, the acoustic guitars, but also the heavy guitars in there as well. I really like that track. And I think, we need to bring it back to the new album. Sure. And I want to talk about the track My Way. Mm-hmm. That is fantastic. Can you talk about what was inspiring the actual the lyrical content of that? It's sort of what Dinosaur Pile-Up do really well as well. Kind of got this loose. Can we call it rapping? Is it rapping? Would you regard it as rapping? It's like spoken word singing, I guess, more than rapping.
I hate to refer to it as rapping. That seems so like not right.
What is it?
I don't know. I really don't know, because obviously I am inspired by a lot of rap music. Like, I'm a huge Run DMC fan. Eminem, Dead Prez. Dead Prez. Dead Prez's song "Hip Hop" is, in my opinion, the greatest hip hop song ever written. It's a genius masterpiece song. So I used to bang a lot of like old school rap music and old school hip hop when I was a kid at school. Like, Run DMC really were a huge influence for me. So I know that I'm inspired by rap music, but when people are like, "Oh yeah, you're rapping," I'm like, "Oh my God, like that doesn't feel right at all."
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is. You're right. Like it's just a cadence of, don't know what you would call it. Maybe
we call it rhythmic storytelling.
There you go. That's perfect. Rhythmic storytelling. That's perfect. But yeah, I like, those inspirations are really significant for me. I'm trying to think of like De La Soul. Used to listen to a lot of De La Soul back in the day. Like Me, Myself and I and stuff. Coolio. I bought Gangsta's Paradise on single when I was like, I don't know how old I was. I was a kid, and I heard it once on the radio. I was like, what the hell's that? And, got obsessed with it. So my music taste is really eclectic. When I was in school as a kid, I was that typical pop sucks, rock music, like punk rock music or die, like Rage Against the Machine, nothing else, like I was very like tribal, Deftones, Rage, Foo Fighters, like nothing pop at all, which is funny because now I appreciate pop music like so much.
What changed though? What did change? Sorry,
I honestly don't know. Like, I've written a lot of music since then, so I think I've just, as I've sort of matured and grown up, I see the value in brilliant pop writing. And I also see it in everything. Like, it doesn't matter if you listen to Sepultura or Rage or whatever, like anything that's great. The elements are the same. A friend of mine once said, pop music sucks if it doesn't have attitude. If it does have attitude, it's brilliant. And that goes for everything. It doesn't have to be pop music. If you have an attitude, if it has attitude, it's real. Doesn't matter what it is,
Yeah.
And I think as I've grown up, like I've opened my mind a bit, and I just appreciate everything now. But it's weird because really, when I was growing up, I was listening to a really eclectic mix of stuff. Like I was listening to Prodigy, Jilted Generation, and Fat of the Land. I was listening to Jamiroquai, Traveling Without Moving. At the same time, I was listening to Pumpkin, Zero, and Nirvana, and Foo Fighters, and Rage Against the Machine, and Deftones. So all this heavy stuff with all this like dance stuff and all this pop stuff. So it everything like was a real mix. But I think for a long time, I sort of ignored that, and I put up barriers, and I was like, I'm doing this, and it's whatever. Like that's probably naive and a bit ignorant, and you grow up as a writer. And I think later, when I started to write songs like Backfoot, for instance, I was like, oh, I really like this, and this is genuine, and it has a realness to it. And I think My Way is a bit of a continuation of that. I love My Way. It reminds me of it has elements of like Eminem. It has elements of Run DMC. Run DMC were always such an interesting band because it was like, I always felt like it was rap music for rock fans because it kind of kicks ass, but it's obviously rap music. And I think, when you like My Way maybe is a good example of that because it's about the big fat guitars, but it's about the lyrical flow of the verses. So yeah, it's a cool mix. I love that song. I think it's really, really fun. And it's a nice way for me as well. Like I never want to like moan. No. Like if I've had a hard time or if I'm pissed off about something, I don't really want to moan, but I want to say what I want to say and like get my point across. And I think sometimes I use humor to do that. Yeah. And My Way is a good example of that. Like I love the humor in the verses, even though I'm describing stuff that actually like really pisses me off. Like really makes me angry. But it was cool to get it out like that.
I love the lyrics in it. I've got them up in front of me, and it's things, the line, just marrying my girlfriend, living for the weekend, pop out a kid, settle down and quit the band. Nah, quitting ain't my style. Right. I have always subscribed. I don't know. I've always been a freelancer. I'm just going to, this is about you, but I'm just going to talk about myself very quickly. I've always been a freelancer, and I have always hated that idea of people, they work really hard all week. And then there's this prescribed way that life goes. And it is exactly that. You literally work a weekend and then all week, and then a weekend, maybe you go on a date, meet a girl, get married. And then it's just expected. The next thing is, then you have a child, then you do this. And I've had arguments in my head with this kind of thing because I'm expecting my first child, and it's kind of felt like, oh no, how do I still kind of maintain what life is about? And I just really enjoyed that song for that reason because, I think a lot of people go through that, and it's one of the reasons why, music's great. It's a good way to express these things.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I talk about kids. Me and Kay talk about kids all the time. We would love to meet the person that her and I would make together. Like, who would that person be? That would be mind-blowing for us to meet that person. But like, obviously right now we're sort of like, we're not really we're not really what's the word, crossing that bridge, because we're just like too busy and we have all this stuff to do. But we talk about that concept a lot, and a lot of my friends now are starting to have children as well. And I think, like, obviously in the lyrics of that song, it's about me quitting, giving up on this, and just settling into the stereotypical,
prescribed way of life.
Prescribed way of life. And obviously, I'm like, no, like, fuck that. I'm going to keep doing this. But there's nothing wrong with that if that's where you're at in your life, And I think, obviously, again, I've grown up so much in meeting Kay, like, and genuinely falling in love and valuing someone above myself. Like, it teaches you a lot of stuff. Like, if you're at that point where you're like, wow, I want to do this with you, and that's my priority, then hell yeah. I think what's wrong with it is when you do that way before you should, or you do it when you shouldn't do it just because you feel like that's what you do. That's terrible. That's a terrible thing to do. But yeah, like, I'm glad in my way. The verse that really, I mean, all the verses really tripped me out. I really enjoyed them. I'm grateful that I was able to articulate myself like I did, because every time I listen to it, I'm like, wow, yeah, I feel relieved, because I was like, right, you said what you really wanted to say. But I love the fact that the verse where I'm talking about like making a record, killing yourself to make a record, and you release it and no one listens to it, and you're making zero money, and you know, good job, I don't get paid a lot because I don't eat a lot, and blah blah blah, all this stuff. I love the fact that so many people connected with that verse, particularly musicians, and that sort of had a bit of a viral moment. And I love that, because so many people were like, yeah, like I feel exactly like this, which stokes me, because just felt nice that people could like connect to that. You know, because it's tough out there, and sometimes you can get, as a musician, you can get very down about that, very frustrated about that. And I'm glad people could sort of find themselves in those lyrics. It felt good.
I want to go back, talk about Run DMC, because you've mentioned them as a track from an artist you regret never seeing.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about Run DMC, so it might be a really stupid question asking, why did you never manage that? Was it, I don't know when they broke up or anything, but, you know.
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
Yeah, why?
Yeah, well, I never got to see Run DMC because they're an older band, you know. They were in their heyday, 80s and 90s.
Right. Okay. This is me coming across as a bit dim on this one then.
No, not at all, man. It's like whatever path you've taken in your music journey. I have no idea how I discovered a lot of my influences literally on one day in one place, because before that, discovering all of those artists, I was listening to, I used to get, did you ever hear of the Now albums?
Yes, I had Now 44. I remember that was my first Now album.
Yeah, so I just used to get the Now compilations, and it was just like whatever mix of like pop tracks and stuff, and I just didn't have a music taste yet, and a music taste yet, and I knew that music excited me, but I didn't know what to listen to. And on that one day, I went into my brother's room. He was 3 years older than me, and he'd already discovered grunge and rock and metal and stuff, and he literally had a stack of CDs on his desk. Like, to name a few, it was like an encyclopedia of, one, my music taste, and two, like the hits. It was like Rage, Evil Empire, Rage, Battle of LA, Nirvana. I think it was Nirvana, Nevermind, maybe, and Bleach. It was Deftones, Adrenaline, like Presidents of the United States of America, like this killer stack of CDs. And I took that whole stack and I spent 2 days sitting on my floor listening to it. It was like Pumpkins, Zero. And I remember specifically listening to Deftones, Smashing Pumpkins, Zero, Deftones, My Own Summer, and Nirvana, that whole record, really. Because I'd only been exposed to Now albums to that point, I was listening to that stuff, and literally I could feel my brain expanding. Like, it's almost like I could feel it. And it was like, what on earth is this? Like, hearing Billy Corgan play Zero, I was like, literally, like, what is this unhinged stuff? And it like changed my life. But my very long point that I'm making here is Run DMC wasn't in that list, so I don't really know where I discovered them, but I just know that when I heard It's Tricky, like, I was like, what the hell? It's such a vibe. And it changed everything. And then I got a Jason Nevis remix. I think it was Jason Nevis remix CD of It's Like That by Run DMC.
Yeah.
And I was so obsessed with that remix. And it's pretty true to Run DMC, but it's just got a bit of a harder pump to it. Every class I had at school, I just had my CD player under the desk, and I secretly had my earphones in. I was just listening to this Jason Nevis remix of Run DMC like all day, every class, just couldn't take it out. So I don't know like how I discovered them, but they made such a significant impact to me.
Yeah.
So I would love to see a live show, but they were just kind of like before my time, I guess. And
Apparently they got back together between 2012 and 2023, so you might have just missed them again.
Oh man, was that all the original members as well?
I don't know.
I thought one of them died, but obviously I don't know if I'm confusing that with obviously the Beastie Boys, which was another huge influence for me. But I watched.
Would you want to see them now, though? Would you want to see them now after that many years? Like
Beasties or Run DMC?
Run DMC.
Probably not, because it's not the same thing. You know, It's not the same thing. But like, man, what a vibe! Like some of those songs are just so killer and inspired so much, and me personally, like deeply inspired me because like production stuff, like even this is nerdy stuff. I pick up on a lot of stuff, but like the kick drums and stuff are just these raging 80s kick drums that are just ludicrous, but just hit so hard. And I think that's why they appealed to rock fans so much, because it really kind of kicked ass. So yeah, I would have loved to see them back in the day.
So going back to, your discovery, your couple of days. So I always ask for the artist that inspired you most growing up, and you said to me off recording that it was going to be tough to pick just one. You've gone for Rage Against the Machine and Testify. Was that on your Now albums? Because if so, I'm jealous compared to
none of this cool stuff was on the Now albums.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah,
okay.
like this is what I mean. Like when I found that stack of CDs in my brother's room, it was such a visceral, eye-opening, mind-expanding moment, because I had all these like timeless records, and I just never really. I was 9 years old. I just never heard anyone kick the shit out of a drum kit and like rage on a guitar, And so all these albums just blew my mind. And literally from the next day, from that moment, I was obsessed with. That's what I wanted to do. Change my life. It's crazy.
Rage Against the Machine. It's an interesting band, as much interesting now as it is, I think it must have been back then. And I say that because of the political sort of statement, and I think nowadays political statements in music, people stick to music, which music is, a statement. It's your feelings, and they were angry about politics. And nowadays, do you think nowadays they would be treated in the same way as, say, a Kneecap or Bob Vylan are being treated very pertinently this week?
That's a really good point. I wonder. It's crazy, isn't it? Because like you said, like music it's a vehicle to say what you want to say, and you should be able to do that, and if you want to write a poem about whatever, you're allowed to, like and Rage was saying what they wanted to say, and it was important that they said it, but it's also, like you said, it's timeless. And that is a really good point. Like everything happening right now, what Kneecap's doing and what Bob Vylan's going through, like that's the same. It's a very similar situation, I think. And it's so interesting that like we're in this political climate where stuff is getting like shut down. It's like, what the hell? It's crazy. It
was strange because Glastonbury, obviously, they were playing and there was all this uproar. And then I think I might have been the night before, but you got Neil Young playing. And obviously he wrote songs like Ohio. Yeah. Which is similar, it's a protest song about governments as much as Kneecap or, I mean, I'm just of the opinion, let's just stop everybody bombing everybody, please.
Oh my God,
what's the fucking point to it? Just stop that. Yeah. So, but it's so strange how, you look back now and these bands, it's fine because they were singing about it then. I'd love to have been around then and seen exactly how it was reacted to.
That's a really good point. I would love that too. That would be so interesting, definitely in today's context and with hindsight and everything. But I mean, I don't know, that like everything right now is so crazy. Like anyone that's okay with bombing civilians and bombing children for any reason at all. Yeah. Whether it's your religion or a religious piece of land, Jesus Christ, or money or your country or whatever, anyone bombing kids, that's fucked up. You know, that's just shameful and disgusting. So it's wild to me that anyone saying that's gross, like you're disgusting, that they're getting shut down just boggles my mind. Like, how can anyone argue against that, you know?
It's the fact that both sides seem to sort of unite in a almost tribalistic football fashion as well. Yeah. And so, you know, there's not really a middle ground conversation happening just to stop everybody. Yeah. And even then this is going down a dark route. I think we should maybe, you know, we should park it there. But Rage Against the Machine, Testify, what a track.
Yeah. What a track. Unbelievable. All those records, you know, Battle of LA, Evil Empire. Incredible.
I love them. And it's weird how they transcend into, like, again, people with diverse music tastes.
Yeah.
My wife, you know, she's sort of very mild-mannered Polish Catholic. She'll drive to church listening to Killing in the Name of and stuff like that, blasting out of speakers. It transcends everybody, and I love it. Yeah. Also, like, you know, everything Zach's done in the latter years, like getting, like, collabing Run the Jewels and stuff. I'm a massive Run the Jewels fan. Just so, you know, quality stuff. Quality indeed. Right, back to talking to quality. Big Dogs from the album I Felt Better.
Yes, sir.
Love this track. Big Dogs Eat for Free. Tell us a little bit about this. What was the inspiration for this song? Because it's a light-hearted song, but it kind of has a message to it, at least for me.
For sure, yeah. Like, you know, it's a light-hearted song, like you said. It's a fun song, but it's making a serious point, like, about, you know, in a way about equality. The fact that, or beginning at the point of the fact that when you're grinding and hustling, and trying to climb up, no one helps you out. No one provides for you or gives you a chance stuff. As soon as you're an ultra celebrity and you've made it, or whatever, everyone gives you everything for free, supports you, whatever. It's like, surely it should be the other way around. You should be lifting people up at the bottom, not at the top when they really don't need it. And that sort of mentality, and also the mentality that everyone's like striving just to be famous, just to be rich or big, because suddenly then you get all this shit for free and life is easy. And, you know, the sort of obsession with celebrity culture that we have now in our society, like, all of those things are sort of in Big Dogs, for me at least. But it's obviously delivered in this kind of like raging, ridiculous, very, very sort of simple, dumb song. But the meaning behind it is pretty, you know, it has a meaning. I can't remember where that came from, like, but I was thinking a lot. I was thinking a lot about that concept. I think a friend texted me something, and that sort of inspired me sort of going down the route of like big dogs eat for free.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know.
It's a very catchy chorus, and I love it.
Yeah.
You guys are going to be on tour starting in September. So September the 5th, you're in Birmingham. September the 6th, Bristol. The 9th, Glasgow. The 11th, Manchester. And the 13th, Electric Ballroom in London. If I'm allowed to leave Poland, which is a residency problem, I will be there. It's up in the air. And after that, you're embarking on a massive US tour, supporting A Day to Remember and Yellow Card, as well as quite a lot of shows headlined as well. Finishing up in January at Shiprocked, which is good. Well, I mean, you're finishing in November, then you get to go and do Shiprocked, which is
yes, sir,
which is nice. So you must be very excited about that. And what's the feelings on the tour? Like, do you get nervous before doing a big tour after an album release, or are you just excited for everyone to hear the songs in their sort of most organic state?
Bit of both. I can't wait to do the tour, see the fans. Like, our Dinosaurs fan base is like the best, absolutely unbelievable fan base. So I love seeing everybody and playing the shows and stuff. I've got to admit, I get really nervous about stuff, about playing shows, particularly about delivering, about performing, about being the best that I can be and not letting anyone down, blah, blah, blah. So I do get very nervous about that. But if I'm prepared, like, preparation is a big thing for me. Like, if I feel prepared, I will be calmer about it and like more stoked. if I'm less prepared, I like freak out. So I'm super excited about it, but I'm a bit nervous. I'm always a bit nervous.
Well, before that, the album comes out, and the final track that we want to talk about from the album is Sick of Being Down, which has got a good meaning behind it as well.
Yeah, it's Sick of Being Down's about just sort of working through, obviously being very unwell for a long time. And then like just working stuff out about myself, like, you know, liking myself or knowing who I was at that point, or like working out ego and ego death. And I'm trying to recall the lyrics now, but it's sort of just being over yourself a little bit. And I thought of the chorus when I was very unwell, and I got a medicinal marijuana prescription, which I used for a while, and it was helpful. But I thought of the chorus because I'd sort of use that prescription to help me out because I was sick, but that would just sort of create a catch-22 where it sort of just perpetuated everything. So anyway, I'm explaining that really badly. It's just about me about me being sick, I guess.
Well, it's fantastic, and the whole album is. The album I Felt Better is out on August the 22nd via Mascot Records. Matt, it has been an absolute joy sitting down and chatting with you. There's so many other things we could have touched upon, but thank you for also giving us your time, because I apologise I've gone over.
No, it was probably me that made us go over.
No. Best of luck with everything and the new album, and good luck with the tour.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks so much. Thanks for your time.
Primordial Radio.